Body don't matter. Pawn shop.
I guess I had to know who
Wrote that.
Yeah.
What?
Sings that.
True. Yeah, thanks.
Let's
You
hear
don't
it.
write that. Are you also amazed by the cat?
No, I was just gonna take it. I realized Grace's knee was against it, and I was like, "Is this vital?" And then I decided it wasn't vital, and I was gonna take it anyways
Knees
because I was
are
super
vital.
uncomfortable. Yeah, but like it didn't change anything. My life.
Ah, my fucking knee. Yay. Alrighty.
Grace seems comfortable, and then he got a pillow taken away from his knee.
I have a job.
Retired that day.
And fire to the knee with leg sweeps.
Because then you use trebuchets.
Oh, would a Lancashire swing this way and launch the thing?
Yeah, just be like, kick!
Yeah.
It's like,
Grunt. Grunt. Just a big leg.
oh my god. Yes. It's like foosball.
Yeah. A big, like, football guy.
You're whiffing it. Nice. What do you remember from last time?
No, we, I don't know
It
if
was a
it's
short session.
We went to Lady Elena's.
Yes. That was.
We went to Zoldesh, dumped bodies on his front porch, and we're like, cool. And then we talked to. Don.
Gorgo?
What?
Yeah.
Gorgo.
Gorgo.
I almost got it right last time. I said like Morgo or something like that. That was like super close. And about just shit, we got a message. We got the response from the elf brother, right? And so we were like, okay, that fucking was her. And now he's on the lookout for her, more specifically. And then we went to Lady Elena's.
We also got a sighting of her near the Artificer's quarters.
We got what?
A sighting of her near the Artificer's labs.
Right. Yeah, they went to Lady Elena's. And she invited us to a concert.
You also did stop by Jarl's.
Yeah.
I don't
that
think
was
you
just.
got much from that. It was just like fun to talk
It was
about.
like, yeah, weirdly pointless, but
Nice
like.
little check in.
Yeah.
Well, you learn more about like what the guards do during the festival. Not much.
Yeah.
Not much. Just keep peace.
And then we like, the big thing is we talked to Zolish about like what we wanted in exchange, like what we wanted for our, you know.
What did you say you wanted?
He wanted access to, he wanted unfettered, unsurveilled access to the magic items trading customs house, which can only end well. And I want.
Yep, I agree. Only well.
I want an audience with the Tsar Sultan, warlord of the Southwest, that part of their land is the Razor Marshes, that I can talk to them about taking over the Razor wine operation, while still paying them for the use of the land.
Correct. Yes. And he
How
said
much would it suck to be our DM if we were like, we want another magic item? Right? Like, we asked for shit. Sorry. Continue.
You are in a magical world, so magic items make sense.
Yeah, but they're just like around.
True.
And we're just gonna get them. Eventually, like, we're probably just gonna get them.
I will make sure that we acquire them.
I mean, to be fair, he asked for magic items. He asked for a shit ton of them, all at once. So I don't really want. It's fine. I'll just give you one of my bags to like hold more in, and then I'll just like stand right outside. I really don't want to be caught doing that.
It's gonna. Actually, I just had an idea on how that could work. Where would you do that?
Probably you've done this. I need water. My cup's not full. I should probably get up and do it now. I don't want to go.
This is gonna be a quick note. Do it.
I'm
Do
going.
it.
Let's do it.
Do it.
Good job, Greg.
Nice. That's a very good idea. I, being a Zaldish, had a good idea on how to make this work.
Water makes me feel good, but it makes me taste. But it
Water
tastes
makes
sad.
you feel good.
But it tastes sad.
You just put the tears of seals in there and they would taste amazing.
It would taste salty. Like my childhood.
Salty water. Salty or sad?
I spent my childhood clubbing baby seals, so full of joy, but
That's how
salty
you
joy.
grew so big and strong.
Yeah, from the clubbing. And then consuming seal flesh, which is good for growing boys. I don't know who this is targeted to. So if you're under 12, you want to get big and strong.
No, I make sure to
And are
mark our
fine with clubbing
videos.
baby seals.
They are marked not for kids. Every single time. I'm like, not for kids.
That's fair.
Very clearly.
Oh, Grayson, when did you get those stickers for the water bottle? I love them.
A couple weeks ago.
Oh, I love them.
Thanks.
Cool. Yeah. I won't like to have enough stuff that I need to buy a lot of stickers like that to put them all over. Like I just don't have anything to put stickers on really. But like, fuck, I want this. Put
Put them
stickers
on your
up
body.
there. Those are called tattoos.
Yeah, but tattoos are permanent. The stickers can just wear off. You could just be like a sticker guy.
I'm gonna just go ahead and not be a sticker guy. Like Mabel.
Yes.
Yes.
First step
Yes.
on the descent to
Yeah.
madness.
Cool. I think that's pretty much everything that happened in the last session. After talking with Lady Linya, Eshkri walked you back onto the street, and it is late morning. Probably like closing in on noon at this point. You've been walking around the city for a while. What would you like to do? You have more than half a day ahead of you.
Artificer's Labs?
Yeah, let's do it. We
Nice.
go to the Artificer's Labs.
What route would you like to take?
Direct.
Map mate.
The direct route. That's what I want.
So the direct route, I believe, would take you through the culinary district, and
Yes.
you run almost tangent to the actual Mages Council as you go.
It really doesn't matter. It's not like there's a more dangerous route. I mean, there probably is.
It changes my
The one-
narration.
The one that doesn't go through the experimental magic quarters. Past that crazy guy who was definitely super important.
What quarter are we currently in?
No idea.
You are at the southwestern end of the Nobles Quarter, so east side, where you'll see like the Dawnguard barracks. Yeah. Organizing maps. That's a great idea. They keep getting.
The books are like never needed here.
Books
Yeah.
are always needed here.
I need the books the most. That's why I have my own set of books.
Okay, so southern quarter of the Noble Quarter,
Yes.
like near the Inner Sanctum.
No, kind of far away from the Inner Sanctum. Like close to where the Inner Sanctum. So where the Nobles Quarter starts to intersect with like the commercial magic district, and just the overall commercial district. What is the Inner Sanctum called?
Nothing. It's just fun to say it like a back
Inner Sanctum.
The Inner Sanctum.
So we're closest to the central courthouse.
Yes. Yeah.
we would not go through the culinary district. It was like the entirety of the commercial magic district, and then the service district, and then it's on the far side of the Mages Council headquarters.
Right. Nice.
What did Batman and Robin say before getting in the Batmobile?
Put on a seatbelt.
Quick, to the Batmobile!
You bastard. Alright. So, you essentially head straight up the hill
So sad.
towards the Mages Council. And you pass through pretty familiar terrain with just the commercial magic district. You can see that striation as you go up into like more exclusive and higher end magical items. I think you might actually slightly intersect with the noble magic quarter,
Ooh.
possibly. You can see that the shops are just like, they're getting finer the higher you go.
Uh-huh.
But what's odd is like after a certain level, as you get closer and closer to the Mages Council, it's actually more like cheap student housing and taverns. It's a lot less like nice magical gear and more like
Portland.
scroll shops. Yeah, and like party time. Yes, the people are definitely younger. They are all wearing like light blue. Most people are wearing light blue robes. You can fairly reasonably assume that these are robes of the Mages Council. They're not loose like the linen robes of the merchants, but they're like tighter, more ready for like regular use and possible combat. You'll eventually, if you don't stop anywhere on your way, you're going to make your way to the Mages Council, which itself has quite high walls, maybe 20 to 30 feet surrounding the area. And you can see at fairly regular intervals, there'll be like entrances to the area, and there's always guards there. Not guards like from the southern slums, but like fairly well-armed guards that have like crystal spears. And the spears are regular and the tip is crystal. Would you like to do anything on the route or when you hit the Mages Council, or just skirt around it straight to the Artificer Labs?
I would like to change my appearance so I look like a small child wearing the same light blue robes.
Nice.
Would you like some prodigy?
That's not totally
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll just put on like standard upper class in this area clothing. Yeah.
Just looking at the map quickly. Yeah, so you're gonna skirt around that western edge of the Mages Council. As you go around it, the area seems to be a bit rougher. It's not like there's more brawls or like it's more dangerous. It's just the shops don't look as like clean, a bit more run down in the like well-used sense. As in like this is the older area that used to be inhabited by the Mages Council. As you pass, actually the people are also a little bit older. Like you'd expect, this is probably where some of the higher ups not higher ups, but like the next tier, yeah, the teachers, not the like apprentices,
Right.
in the Mages Council.
The journeyman.
Yes, the journeyman. Eventually, you make your way around the Mages Council, and you see a fairly distinct, just series of blocks, like blocks of the city that are very brutalist in construction, very like efficient. They seem to cover maybe like a 3x3 area, and you see a lot of people in blue robes walking in and out of the buildings that surround that. area.
Wait, like a block, like a city block?
Like three by three blocks of the city,
Okay.
all dedicated to these type of buildings.
Oh, okay. So each one has like specific style of architecture.
No.
How many series of 3x3s are there?
It's just this one.
Oh, and what are the buildings
You're
look
like,
like?
if you were looking at the map, this would be where you'd expect the Artificer Labs to be.
Okay.
The labs are like brutalist in construction.
Got it.
They're like plain stone and very like effective.
Little Bolshevik.
Yeah. Exactly. They are contrasted pretty significantly with the things around them, which are more like regular dwellings and buildings that have like peaked roofs and doors and everything.
Communist architecture. All right.
Kind of, yeah. Imagine communist architecture. That's
what I'm doing.
yeah.
Cool.
I like to walk towards the 3x3 grid of boxes.
You know, artificers get a bad rap. I'm artsy. Alright.
Yeah. There can be artistry and artificy. Yes.
Artificial artistry.
Can't spell artificer without art.
Right.
Or sir, so you better show me some.
I've actually seen in like a bunch of fantasy, they'll do like Sir. Well, in Game of Thrones, they do Sir, and it's S-E-R,
Huh?
not S-I-R. Sir. Cool. You head towards the brutalist block of buildings.
I like to make my way for the center of the brutalist block of buildings built like boxes.
All that alliteration. Yeah.
Bolshevik.
The three of you are able to make your way to the entrance of one of the buildings, and no one stops you. You were pretty much able to walk right in. There's like no guards here. It's mostly like some people look at you kind of strange, but especially when they see Piotr,
I mean, I have a
they're
sense.
just kind of like, yeah.
Like, I belong here.
That
I'm
kind
a
of gives
fucking
you
artificer.
access.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are like, oh, okay. Like, it's just like, this is a new invention. Something's coming into like,
What?
help. They think Piotr is like a,
Yeah, there's no battlesmith artificers in here?
no.
Damn.
So,
Right.
right.
Right, it's
you are
UA.
unique.
I forgot. And it's UA. I think.
Yeah, Unearth Arcana.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these artificers,
So I didn't know what UA stands for. I just know that it's different, so I just been calling it UA.
whenever you say UA, I'm like, UAI. Like, Book of the Hill.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're from Unearth Arcana. You are
Yeah.
kind of like unique among the artificers.
Cool.
So you don't see steel sentinels like wandering around the halls.
I assume there's a bunch of homunculus, though. Because any artificer class can do that.
There are some small homunculi wandering around, but not a lot of them.
Hmm.
You'll see an occasional one like accompanying someone else,
Right.
accompanying a person as they walk between the halls. Inside, it's actually quite nice. Like, while the outside is very brutalist, the inside is like, there have been some paintings on the walls. Like, people try to liven up the place. But for the most part, everyone seems like very serious. They're like, they know where they're going, they're dead set on what they're doing, and they're not gonna like ask other people questions. They're just like, within the building, you can see hallways extending in every direction, including like far in front of you, and even maybe see an entrance at the end of it, or an exit, beyond which you can see sunlight. You'll also see stairs extending on either side every few hallways. So this is almost just like a network of places to go, things to explore. Where you are right now is the central connecting piece to the outside.
Where do people run to?
They are milling about. Sorry, they're not milling at all. Very purposeful movement. they'll just be going from one hallway to another, or like hallway to stairs. A few of them will be going outside, past that far exit that you see. For the most part, a lot of the people you see are younger. There'll be a few older mages, but they're mostly young.
I'd like to go up and find an older mage if I can.
Also, there's not a lot of people. You're always seeing at least a few, but it's not like
Bustling.
yeah, it's not bustling. So this is like a very popular area, but by no means the majority of the Mages Council or the schools. Yes, you can find an older mage. Who do you find? Yes. So you look around and you're able to see an older man with a homunculus next to him. It's just a small humanoid type figure that seems to be like fiddling with some metal. And he's like walking at a decently brisk pace. Tan skin, shock of white hair. And he's walking down the stairs away from you, towards the exit. What do you two want to do?
Try to catch up.
Alright. You catch
Pat
up.
the homunculus's back on my way up and then tug on the man's robes. Excuse me, mister!
The homunculus goes,
Flies down the stairs.
they're off the stairs now. They were like exiting and they're heading that way. The man goes, can I help you?
Ah, yeah, that'd be great. We're looking for the nearest bar. If you could point us in that way.
He raises a bushy eyebrow and goes, the bars are back that way. If you don't mind, I need to get on with my research.
Oh, for sure. Won't take too much more of your time. I was just curious where the top secret stuff was going on in the area, you know?
He stops and turns to fully look at you and goes, you might want to watch what you say.
Oh, we're just here to have a good time, you know? Help out where we can.
Asking
Be
for
useful.
top secret knowledge is an interesting thing to start with when you're talking to someone.
No, I figure more than I could just get to the chase, you know?
Seem like a direct kind of person.
I do appreciate honesty. What about you
I'm just showing. I'm just with him.
and your relationship?
He's a new student, my young one here.
He seems to finally recognize the blue robes. Like, I see. Did you change the blue robes too?
No, I have like upper class general clothing. Because I'm like a parent.
Right.
Dropping him off at school. First day, freshman year, baby.
It's interesting. Can you tell me the correct enchantments used to create a level 5 magic item?
I sure can't. But I can get one for you, though. Which one will you want?
Look, he shows great promise with dexterity and his hand movements and his ability to gather materials and work with other people. I'm an artificer, so, you know, he's learned a lot of information, but not any of the higher level stuff. And because of his promise in these other, like, accompanying fields, he's been given, like, early access to learn artificer stuff.
He turns to look at you as you tell him these things. He goes, Fair, I guess that was a very specific question. I sometimes lose track of exactly what the students know these days.
Makes sense.
I've been told that I need to be more approachable.
No, it's the youth who are wrong.
Yes, exactly. At least I'm not as bad as Urza. Oof.
Right.
Unreachable truth. But I guess my ability to actually somewhat discuss with youth is why they appointed me to the Magisterium.
Oh, that's sure fancy, mister. How's it been going for you?
Also, what's your name?
It's a lot of administrative tasks.
That sounds exhausting.
Introductions. I'm sorry if you're dropping off your student and beginning your training at the Mages Council. My name is Firsta Litwer. I am the Magisterium covering enchantment and evocation.
First What?
Ferdsta Lituer.
Ferdsta.
Ferdsta.
Ferda.
Yes.
Ferdsta what?
Lituer. Lituer.
Hey, I got that right actually.
Yeah. And Ferdsta is Ferdstah.
Oh, I missed the H.
It is kind of like Ferda with a st.
Ferdsta.
Ferdsta.
Ferdsta, boys.
Ferdsta. Who remembers who the Magistrium are?
My eyes are hurt.
They're the that's actually high rank. Enchantment and evocation. Holy shit!
Yeah, this dude's fucking.
The Megastrium are like the second tier to the High Counselor, the Wizard King.
Yep.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have fun multi-classing into Artificer, which is now something you have to do.
So those top secret research labs. How can I help?
You could help by learning more.
Great. I would
Advancing
love
your
to
studies.
Learn. Can I follow you around and learn from you all day?
Unfortunately, I don't have the time to take on an apprentice at the moment. I have 3 already, and
Oh, it's okay. I'll
they're
just follow
fairly-
you around. I'll just learn by absorption.
I think you would
Immersion.
do better learning from someone else at first. Perhaps in the future, you can actually accompany me and learn from me. What is your name, young one?
Vladik.
Vladik. And your parent?
Alexander.
Right. Alexander, did you create this thing? Is it a family heirloom or something?
Oh no, I created it. Yeah, like a week ago.
And he moves to inspect Pyotr.
Yeah.
He starts like moving around the construct and like knocking on little things, and then like holds his hands and strange runes appear around his fingers, and he inspects it. Tries to ascertain exactly what it is. And he finishes and says, impressive. If your child shows the same talent as you, could very much have a use for him here at the Artificer Labs.
You have use for him?
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you're interested in joining, I assume you said you were just dropping them off. I thought you were.
Well, yeah.
Back to your own work.
Really, we're from pretty far away, like pretty hidden town, and that's where I just like didn't have any time, or like was super bored, so I like learned how to do all this Artificer stuff, and I had to like more tech into like battle these stuff. Yeah, we just kind of like are here to drop them off, but I don't really have anything to do, and I'd love to learn more because I've pretty much been self-taught, which is kind of rough.
You've come to a great place of learning.
Yeah.
It's a great decision. I think Urza would be interested in seeing your creation. I believe he's been working on something similar, but I don't know how far he's gotten.
Mine's named Karn.
Good name. Let me think. How to get Urza to accept your... How to get him to just talk to you.
How to get him to accept me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll very much accept you when you can see your creation, but a little hard to get in the door
Yeah, it's
and
fair.
get his attention. Just tell him Ferdsta sent you. He normally listens to the people I send,
Cool.
even if he doesn't always listen to me.
It's fair.
He's most likely in his lab. Follow me to the courtyard, and then I'm going to the east. I have to go back to the Mages Council on business, but if you head to the west, he'll be in the northwesternmost corner of the complex.
I wasn't ready for this. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But find out.
I turn and start walking the direction he was
Who's the fuck
going.
is Urza in this?
He's the head of the artificers.
So he's the head of the artificers, and this guy we're talking to is below Urza, but on the
Different.
magistrum? Oh, he's not an artificer.
Correct.
Oh, okay, I thought he was an
He's
artificer.
no, he's here.
Enchantment and evocation.
I know, that's why I was
Right.
like, why is the artificer guy, who's now the head of the artificers, the magistrum for enchantment and invocation? I was like, what the fuck are you doing in this building?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he finds it interesting because there's a lot of enchantment
Right.
and magic on
True.
Earth. But yeah, that's why he's only here sometimes.
Got it. Okie dokie.
As we're walking towards the courtyard, I would like to turn to him and say, "So, you ever need a shoulder massage, or somebody to just hang around and be useful for you? Do random little tasks, fetch you things."
Well, I do have my homunculus here.
Ooh, he
Handles
does
most of
look
the small
shiny.
things.
I go up and try and high five
Basically,
him.
just a tiny you.
He does a little like and high fives you.
Ah, success.
Clockwork happens.
Did you want to ask for anything else as you're like walking to the courtyard?
Yeah, have you seen any large fires recently?
Caused by a silver-haired elf girl. Also, have you seen the
That's an
silver-haired
interesting
elf girl?
description.
Usually wearing green with red trim. Sometimes a hat. Maybe brown with red trim.
I don't believe I have. And fires I would normally know about. I haven't heard of anything in the city.
Well, that's good, I guess. Good for the city.
I am an evocation mage, and he like
I
flashes
believe you.
fire that turns to ice, that turns to lightning, that turns back to fire, and then like collapses in on itself as wind.
Ah,
Cool.
that's a neat little party trick you got there, mister.
Yes, I made that one myself.
Nice.
Oh.
I'm gonna create the image of a cat sitting in my head. Or it's sitting in my head.
Interesting. Illusion magic.
Yoo-hoo!
Not exactly my strong suit, but you could always talk to Killian. That's his area of specialty.
See the illusion magistrate?
Yes, illusion and transmutation.
Gotta warn you though, I only do illusions of cats.
He might not be as interested then.
Super fair.
Or he could teach you how to do illusions of more.
I don't think
He's
it's not
more
that
of
he
the teacher
can't
type.
do.
Giant cats? My eyes get big.
Oh yes, I've seen him do many complex illusions.
Were
Giant
they
cats would be
cats?
no problem. What?
But were they cats?
I've seen a few giant cats that he's created.
I would like to learn that one.
I mean, I think the most impressive is when he actually created an entire illusion around the Mages Council and made it look like we were floating in space. Incredible.
Yeah,
It's
that
really
sounds okay. If it was a giant cat sleeping on the Mages Council, that would be a lot cooler though.
What if it was like
I think
we
you could do
were
that.
surrounded by in space and all the stars were cats? Nice.
Little like sun kittens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the constellations like form different shapes of cats.
Lying down, standing.
Just like the face.
Both.
Cat butt. Right?
There might be a constellation that doesn't already.
Probably.
Uranus. Dun dun.
Got one.
Okay. As you've been talking with Ferdstad, you've made your way out into the courtyard where, while there are like designated paths to all of the different buildings in this complex, there are a lot of like just open spaces where people are experimenting and tinkering, and most of them are using like small whirring and flying machines. Because you need open space for those.
Drones. A college campus.
Yeah?
I want to for the
Yep, first thing.
for stuff. 1,000 years ago, did they have a giant battle with a giant elemental and seal it away for 1,000 years?
No. That sounds like a fun story, but that is not what happened.
You've heard nothing about that at all, ever? Okay.
No. I mean, back at the founding of the city, the hill was already here. They had found the hill. It's actually, they used it because it was the most advantageous to fend off all of the wild animals that would come and attack the settlements.
Based on like geological studies and stuff, should this hill be here?
Oh sure, there are more hills in every direction. This is just the one closest to the river, so it's very easy to maintain a civilization here.
Have they ever dug down into the hill?
We've dug down a little ways, there's just no actual ore inside of it that's usable. We've been able to excavate some, but most of the ore we get actually comes from all the way in the north.
Can you use magic to like see inside the hill?
I do believe we've tried to some degree, but haven't come up with anything besides dirt.
Okay.
An interesting concept, though.
Mind if
There
I,
might be elementals hidden throughout the world.
Oh yeah,
mind listening to a rhyme I heard the other day and telling me what you think about it?
Of course, little one, but then I have to leave.
it's kind of like a riddle. He's really into it.
Beware he who guards the dawn with sickle face and sword untrue. The Ares' fate is sealed upon the 1,000th year sentence due.
Where did you hear that?
No, just picked it up somewhere. Don't really remember. I've just been trying to figure out why it's so catchy.
Well, it rhymes. That's why it's catchy. But that is very odd
Why is
rhyme
that?
to choose. This is the 1,000-year festival celebration of the founding of Arelon, and this area, the area that we are in. A sentence? I don't know what kind of sentence would we do. This is very strange. I do hope that this is just a strange rhyme you thought of.
So
It's quite ominous.
Why is that?
Because it's quite ominous.
Because it's talking about the festival that occurs in 5 days. And, sickle face. Sword untrue. What can that be?
The Dawn Guard's god.
Oh.
Yeah, was he a bit of a piece of shit?
The Dawn Guard have...
So the story
He
goes
starts
that
looking around.
The story goes that the guy who became the god killed a giant beast, right?
That is the story I'm familiar with.
What was the beast?
The beast was Tilvorid.
And it was an elemental?
No.
What was
just
it?
another person.
It was described as a monstrosity. From the most detail we can get, it was a horrifying aberration with tentacles and eyes and claws and teeth and fangs that led an entire cult that fought the Dawn Guard.
What would happen if he didn't actually kill it?
I don't know. It would be fairly hard to hide.
What if he locked it away?
That is a possibility.
Yeah. Because the sword's untrue.
Which is why this prophecy disturbs me.
Would it be a reasonable thing to bring up to Urza when we go see him?
Tell me,
What?
truly, where did you hear this?
It was not.
How did you find this?
It's dark. Just it was on a stick. We found it carved into a stick we found in a big cave.
The Cave of Calamities.
And it was written in elemental. We have the fucking stick.
Can I see
You
it?
have the stick.
Will you give it back?
Yes.
Will you give me a high five?
Yes.
High five. And then I pull out.
He doesn't know what a high five is. He moves his hand
Super
towards you.
fair.
I smack it.
Mm.
Thanks, bud.
It's for
Here's my
expressing
stick.
joy and camaraderie
It seems
and celebration.
I see.
Yeah.
I might use this high five in the
Yeah,
future.
spread it. Like the clap.
But a clap is this.
I know.
Oh, it is like a high five with yourself.
Yeah.
Ah, I get it.
But spread it.
The clap doesn't exist in this one.
I figured.
Well, like a disease.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. In my town, there was a disease called
Happiness
Wow.
spreads like diseases, right? You share
That
with the
does
people around you.
sadness.
Yeah.
Everybody feels better.
I'm not really into the emotion research. I'm sure Beldost is.
Beldos. I'm gonna go find Beldos.
Do you want to?
Here's the stick.
He takes the stick and looks at it. And starts reading it, and then like his hands glow
Oh god.
slightly green as he's looking at it.
He's gonna bring this stick.
And then they glow red.
What
And he
you
passes
doing
his
there,
hand
bud?
over it.
He's doing
Goes,
research.
I'm just looking to see what this could be. And then his hands are normal again. He takes the stick and begins to hand it to you and says, "You might need to come with me.
Okay.
You're not in trouble.
No, I figured.
This is a little more than a small rhyme that you've picked up off the street.
Yeah, it's definitely just something I heard in my dream.
I would call this a prophecy.
I'd say we can go with him. You know, why not? We'll learn a lot more.
I can introduce you to Urza later. This is
Yeah, that's cool.
significantly more pressing, in my opinion,
Megito Megito.
with me. He starts walking to the east. Oh.
Into Mage's Council headquarters.
Yes.
Wizard King, here we come.
Mm-hmm. He's going to lead you out of the Artificer Labs. When he leads you to the east, you're passing through another building almost identical to the one that you passed in through from the south.
Right.
And he leads you up to the main gates. The guards with the crystal spears just like don't even attempt to stop you at all. They just go like, "Oh yes, 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 yes." You can very easily recognize spirit stuff. And he walks you through the gates into the Mage's Council. Here you can see the towers that you've seen looming at the top of the hill for so long. And you see that at a lot of the towers, people are walking out or in with stacks of books. It's fair to assume that these are libraries.
Yay, libraries.
Other towers have windows all around them. Aside from the towers, which are very visible from outside the Mage's Council, there are more squat buildings that also have windows. They tend to be where there's a higher concentration of the younger mages and maybe a few of the older ones. Classrooms, essentially. But first it leads you north, where the buildings are older and more unique. One of them, you can actually see people being led, restrained to that area. He leads you to the back end.
As we're walking past them, tap him on the side and be like, why are these people being tied up? What's going on with these people?
This is where we judge crimes related to magic.
Oh, heavy stuff.
Yes. The Central Courthouse handles most of the petty theft and crimes, and things that involve most of the nobles or even the Dawn Guard, but anything related to magical crime, either experimentation with human subjects, theft of magical items, this is where we, the Mage's Council, pass judgment.
Mm-hmm.
We've been given special jurisdiction to do so.
Nifty.
3 powers, 3 judicial systems. Who will win?
The Senate.
I am the Senate. Morris. So, first that leads you to a fairly grand building. It's very large, has columns all around the outside, and massive doors on the front that are not ajar, but like, it would be like this.
That's a jar.
A jar. They are open, but they are not completely swung aside.
Got
And
it.
people are passing in and out. Most of the people here are older. They look more refined. It's not just Mages Council members, but
Right, doors, not a jar.
doors slightly ajar.
There's medium of it.
Medium rare ajar. Oh god. What have I done? You'll see people in the kind of livery that you saw in the nobles' quarters. You'd even see an occasional dawn guard passing through. First, it leads you up the long steps that come up to the entrance of this place and beckons you to come inside. There is another set of guards at these doors with not spears but crystal great axes.
Sweet. Where can I get a crystal great axe / great hammer?
We reserve those for the guard and some of the more well-established of our battle mages, the ones that have proven themselves very competent in martial combat.
Yeah, fair enough. Where do you guys have your barracks?
Thanks. Where do the guards stay?
The guard, right. The guards stay on the eastern side for the most part, but still within the Mages Council walls.
Right.
Most of the guards are actually from the Mages Council.
So they all like also know a bunch of magic.
Correct. They're fairly well versed in lower level spells. In fact, actually, most of the guards come from the Battle Mage contingent.
Makes sense.
He leads you through the building, which is mostly just massive ceilings and open space, and leads you to the left and down a long hallway, and then finds a small sitting area at the end and says, "Wait here for a second. I will go and let people know."
Can I have my stick back?
Yes, the stick.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll be back as soon as I can. Should only be a few minutes, depending on what Aegis is doing at the moment. And he hurries off
Cool boy.
to the north.
Aegis. E-G-G-I-S.
Not how it's spelled.
I know. A-E-G-I-S.
What?
Or B-A-G-A-D-S.
That's what I've written down.
Yeah.
But now it's just got the other thing.
It's like GIF, GIF, Aegis, Aegis.
But there's no U.
Right. A-E-G-I-S.
That is how it's spelled now.
Nice. You're both sitting there like, ooh. Actually, I think this is more.
While we're sitting there, I would like to very quickly look around and see what's around us.
Perception check.
Yes.
We want to use the dot tower.
Die tower!
Yeah! 22!
9.
You can't really know, like, you
There's
look
a
around.
floor.
You're in
Yeah.
a room. Probably.
You're in an area in a building, and there were people around. You notice that at the end of this hallway, where Ferdsta went, there's another set of guards standing at a door.
What do they have?
They also have crystal great axes.
No. Crystal whips.
As you're watching, small groups of people will pass by you, wait at that door, and then enter. So they normally wait for like a few minutes. Ferdsta eventually comes back around from where you just were and says, alright, we're ready to figure out what this could be. Try and talk about this.
Neat.
Follow me. And please, don't do anything rash. You might die.
That's cool.
Well, some people don't really know. We've had incidents. I am the evocation Megastrium for a reason.
I didn't ask how big the room was. I said I cast Fireball.
Yep.
Can I do a jig?
Yeah, you can do it. You doing performance?
Yeah. Maybe if my sheet works.
I'm proficient.
13!
You do a small shake as you walk down the hallway, and first is just kind of like looking at you. Like, he just kind of hopes you'll stop by the time that you get there. Tatashi, what are you doing?
Watching calmly.
First to like that. And then you've made it to that area that Tatashi, you saw people just like standing and waiting. And then the doors open up to quite a resplendent hall, at the end of which, in a not very fancy throne of any kind, but like a important, well-built chair, sits a stocky, later middle-aged man, also tan-skinned, kind of like Ferdsta. And along this carpet that leads to him are other members of the Mages Council, a few members of the nobility, but no longer.
Do we know any of them? Have we talked to any of them? Is the fucking crazy guy with the lightning force thing here?
He is not.
Good.
No, you don't recognize any of the
I'm
people
really
here.
worried that he's gonna come back. Fuck that guy's crazy. Alright.
It all depends on your actions. whether or not he
Continue.
comes back. You walk down the carpet up to this makeshift throne. It's not makeshift.
Sure.
It's just a chair. It's a nice chair. And as you get closer, you see that he has a sharp white beard, not long, but just like cut at the end. He has green-brown eyes. And as you stop, Ferdsta turns to you and says, introducing Aegis the 7th, 67th High Counselor of the Council of Mages. Not necessary to kneel, but
I'm gonna like
he
bow
is
a
the
little bit.
greatest. You should.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yes.
bow.
Can I full bend over and just kind of like put my head on the ground?
You can. Yes.
Okay,
The
so
High
I'm
Counselor.
lifting my legs and just balancing on my head.
Yeah, roll an acrobatics check.
13. 14.
You actually managed to pull it off.
Yes!
But you're kind of like shaking a little bit. And you're
I'm
like,
gonna have Pewter just like pick him up and put him back on his feet.
Aegis lets out a I like this one. Well met. Good. People are so stuffy most of the time.
Give him a big toothy grin.
I like your style, kid. Though I'd suggest you take off your hats.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I bet they could fucking see through our shit.
Take it off and tuck it in my back pocket.
Yeah, I'm gonna take mine off, put it in my bag.
Thank you for showing us your true faces.
Yeah,
I
it's
do
just
understand that.
easier to get around this way.
Yeah. Sadly, you're right.
There's a lot of irrational hate from our friend here.
There is. I've seen it.
Yeah.
We try to improve the city as much as we can, but there is always prejudice. Anyways, Ferdsta has shown me the prophecy that you've come upon.
Yeah.
You just
Please
fast transcribe that.
elaborate. Oh, he recited it from memory.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Sharp
he's
mind.
quite good. Enchantment mage and all. And Ferdsta gives like a... It's the first time you've seen Ferdsta like a little smile, like, oh,
Recognition
yeah.
from the boss. Sorry, what do you want?
He likes it.
What do you ask?
I'd like to know more about where this came from, how you figured this out. Give me some background.
All right, we were in Stettin, which is where we met, and we heard about a cave of calamities where like a whole bunch of people had died, and we went there, and a whole bunch of people had died there. There were just bones everywhere. It was crazy. Didn't really have anything to do with the stick. And then we.
How did all those people die?
Well, yeah, hold on, we'll get there. Let's not do anything rash.
He like raises other people in the hall are like, and he's like,
so
okay.
we and a third temporary friend that we needed some extra like muscle because I hadn't made big boy here yet. And we went into the cave and there were a lot of traps. I just remembered all the traps. We like got past all the fucking traps. It was crazy. And then there was a chest.
3 traps.
It felt like a lot. And then we got over the chest and we got a trap.
I got it, but it was a little bit.
There were like 16 traps. And this like conic squid-shaped thing dropped off the ceiling, cast a like area of darkness around it, and started just like attacking our faces. And honestly, not a lot of skill involved. We kind of just fired firebolts into the middle of the darkness where we thought it was, and we hit it enough times that it died. So that was really lucky, and we're glad that our like temporary companion was with us because he could take some hits. We healed him up and bought him a shit ton of beer and made him the hero of the story in the town, so it's no big deal. He was fine. But in the chest we found a stick with markings on it that we can't read because we couldn't read. We still can't read, actually. What we did not yet know was elemental. So then we had this stick for like another week and a half.
Got it translated.
Yeah.
Just been sitting thinking about it for a little while.
Yeah, it's been like 2 days.
Yeah.
It's like we got it
Pretty
translated
recently.
and it was like, oh, this might be really bad, but like we also had we had to like stop a killer who was murdering people. So we did that first.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of this Cave of Calamities?
I have not heard of the Cave of Calamities, but what you're describing sounds fairly old, and from Ferdsta's description of the object, seems to be from very early in our history, if not before the founding of the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of confused. There were bones strewn out, like 50 feet in a circle around this cave?
Yeah.
But this thing wasn't that big, and it did not move that fast, so...
Yeah, we kind of, at the time, we just assumed it, like, latched onto them, and the furthest that it got was, like, 50 feet away before they, like, killed them, and then, like, scurried back to the cave. That's just kind of, like, what I assumed.
Yeah.
You know?
But, like, 50 foot with the center being the cave, ring
no
around the cave,
radius.
just bone field.
Yeah. pretty nuts.
A creature can survive for a while, given the right environment. But enough about that.
When we almost killed that
I would
guard.
like
Or that-
more
that-
work to be
that-
done on what this could mean and what it could mean for the future of the Mages Council. We are very close to our festival of founding, and I would like, for as little as possible, to happen that is calamitous to us.
Checks out.
It's an odd way of
Set that
speaking.
sentence, but yeah.
He's figuring it out. He's like trying to be a little more noble than he is, because he's like not of noble stock. He's just real fucking good at magic.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we also
Anyways.
don't really want it to be super calamitous, you know.
Calamitous is calamitous.
Yes, indeed.
Anyways, I would leave you in the charge of Ferdsta to examine what this could mean.
Well,
I trust him to
do you have
carry
any
this out.
hunches, any inclinations, any suspicions associated with it? Anything that might help us with our research, as I'm assuming you're asking us to do?
He gives a small smile and like a quick look around the court and says, I believe I've entrusted all I know to our Magistrium of Enchantment and Evocation.
Wait,
Fantastic.
wait,
Look forward to working with him more.
wait. I want to do an insight check
Can I do that?
on where the fuck he's lying or
You
not.
can both do insight checks.
I got a 10. You got what?
Insight is
Wisdom.
Wisdom?
Yeah.
Ooh, 21.
Nice.
He is not lying to you that he's entrusted what he knows to Ferdsta, and not lying about his intentions either, but he's not telling you everything.
Yeah, my
He's
insight was on
hiding.
when he said, "I've told you all that I think we know about this."
He didn't tell us. He told the dude who is going to be helping us.
Oh,
He said he
okay.
told Ferdsta.
Oh, okay.
With that, am
So-
I able to discern who he's trying to keep information from?
Yes, he's trying to keep information from all of the people in the court.
Fucking all of them?
As far as you can tell, like, he's just not completely trusting of all of them.
Got it, but I'm not able to discern which ones he's particularly suspicious of.
Correct. His gaze was across the general court, which means he might not even be aware of who he's trying to keep secrets from.
Alright then. Keep your secrets.
Keep it safe.
Oh. Cool.
Nito Megiddo. You want a high five?
It's when you slap your hands together in a show of camaraderie, enjoyment, and celebration.
Ferdsta looks at Aegis and goes, "It's quite interesting." Aegis nods and goes, "Alright." And he stands up from his chair and he's like he got some muscle. He can beat the shit out of people, even though he's old. And he raises like a beefy hand to you.
Kind of like bounce up and smack his hand.
Yep, you smack it and some of the guards go, then he looks at it and goes, "Ha! Wonderful! I like it."
Wait till
Spread
we
it
show him
around.
a fist bump.
I highly encourage this. We might have... How many
Gesture for the
handshakes?
centennial.
High five. Ah, 5 fingers.
And you're up
See
high,
that.
yeah.
With my
Ah.
We can teach you something else. It's gonna blow your fucking mind, man.
What's this other
It's
thing?
called the low five. Piotr holds out his
Low five.
hand, and I just like smack him like that.
Everyone goes, "Ooh." Intriguing. There's much that you can teach us.
I look forward to continued exchange of information.
Every time you give us a piece of vital information, we'll teach you a new cool handshake.
Oh my god.
We've got hundreds of them.
Then he gets slapped. Wonderful. Do you have any more questions for me before you work with Ursa?
I could ask you questions all day long, but I'm pretty sure you've got stuff to do. Unless you want to just spend the afternoon walking around and talking about stuff.
Do you like razor wine?
I can give you 5 more minutes of my time. As a thank you for bringing this important prophecy to us. I do enjoy razor wine.
Do you
It's one of
know
my favorites.
who Zoldash is?
Yes.
How do you feel about him?
He cocks his head and is like, Zoldash is quite a good customer of the Mages Council. He's been very useful to us in many instances.
Non-answer.
I respect his capabilities. First still looks a little like
Why do I
That's
tell
Zoldash.
him that Zoldash translated this thing?
What did you, what's your favorite enchantment that you did on your walls?
I don't do much of the enchantment, purely the transmutation.
What's
Where
your
I have
What was your favorite transmutation you did for the walls?
so what I actually did is when I created the walls, I made them so that they would actually be resistant to shock. As opposed to just reverberating like solid stone, they can actually absorb impacts and distribute them across the structure.
What's your favorite branch of magic?
Transmutation.
Is that like
Is my
what you're best
specialty.
at? Oh yeah, okay, cool.
I've learned a decent amount of illusion magic as well. I thought it was fun.
He can do
I
illusion
think the
magic,
cat on the stairs.
but it's only cat. He only does cats.
I only do cats now.
He
Very
can
nice.
do more. He just only does
Cats.
cats.
That is fair.
I'm a battlesmith
That's a-
artificer. I made this steel sentinel.
Have you talked to Urza yet?
No, we're actually on our way to talk to Urza, but Ferdsta thought this was really important, which, to be fair, it is.
To be fair.
Ferda, to be fair.
The whole court goes, to be fair.
And then high five each other. Cool. Are you gonna go to Lady Elena's concert in the Nova Quarters in like 2 days?
Oh, you're going to the concert.
Yeah, because the killer that we were stopping was killing people who were singing Lady Elena's songs. He was crazy and obsessed with her. So we got to meet her and she is thanking us for stopping him by inviting us to the concert.
You're the ones that killed him.
Yeah, I still have the throats in my bag. You want to see them?
The what?
Well, so the guy was cutting out little girls' vocal cords and
I did
preserving
hear
them
about
in
that.
jars.
Yes.
Yeah, I have them.
Why do you have them?
It felt better to take them than to leave them in the dude's creepy apartment.
Yes, but now they're in your bag.
But like, yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You are the ones that killed him.
yeah.
You can do what you want.
To the spoils for the victor.
Yes.
To the victor go the
The
spoils.
concert is something I'm very much looking forward to.
Right?
Ferdsta is one of the people joining me.
Dope. See you guys
Great.
there.
We should hang out at the concert.
Yeah. Then we should get like dinner
Yes.
after. We're gonna be best friends with the king. The wizard king. I rolled a seduce. Piotr rolls to seduce.
When he says that, Ferdsta goes, actually, I declined the concert. I'm the one maintaining order at the Mages Council during that time. Beldos and Killian will be there.
Oh, okay.
Nagus goes, yes. Yes, yes.
Well, more friends.
Yes. It will be... Have you ever been?
We like just got to the
First
city for
concert.
the first time, yeah.
Mm. Oh. They are wonderful. Some of the most incredible music I've ever heard in my life.
We're very excited.
Yeah.
Should be nice.
I'll bring some
Very small crowd.
very fancy fish.
Mm. You're a connoisseur of fine foods.
Fine
Fish.
Fish is one of our primary foods, yes. Have you been to Rindera?
Yeah, we're friends with Sophia, one of the chefs there.
Mm.
Yeah, we
Excellent.
got around in 4 days.
I'm impressed. You've
Yeah.
certainly made your.
I sold her a bunch of alligator meat. She made a specialty dish out of it. Yeah.
That's where they got the alligator meat.
Did you get to taste some of our kill?
Full circle.
I did. It was quite delicious.
Yeah, they just leapt onto the boat we took here. A bunch of them just leapt onto the boat and attacked us.
Normally
Yeah.
they keep to the shallows and away from
I know.
people.
It was as mysterious as the bees disappearing.
So what?
No,
The beast
the
disappeared?
bees disappearing.
Ah, the bee flies across the room.
That's why they're disappearing. Keep pissing me off.
Target. But the evocation mages are
Little fireballs. Nets of lightning.
fire bees.
Murder hornets. Which is not a thing.
Oh, it's a side quest. We decided not to do it.
You're right, America. Just nah.
Yeah, we're okay.
It's too much right now. I want to focus on the main story.
We're gonna go into the main quest.
Yeah. Then they did take a side quest.
One last question before we return your day to you. Do you know anything about an Aelios, son of the King of Lewandal?
Well, yes. I mean, I'm quite familiar with the royal family. I have to be, as I deal with them fairly often.
Out of curiosity, what's your take on Aelios and Lore-lei?
I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Lore-lei,
Who's Laura?
but Aleos,
Oh, nice.
I'm quite amiable. A few times I've met him. A little standoffish. Not as bad as his brothers, who are... Well, I guess if you talk to Tristolius about magic, he's quite...
Actively avoiding Tristolius.
Yeah.
Yes, I could see that. I could see that.
Stories.
He loves talking about magic, but anything else and he just clams up. No interest in food, music, or anything, just magic. I can respect to a degree.
Fair enough, but overall good people.
Yes, the royal family. Quite.
Not on a political level, just as individuals.
Conversationally, friendship wise.
I've enjoyed my conversations with them.
Good high five.
Yes. Ooh. Some of them,
Yeah.
perhaps.
I'm not gonna try and high five.
Alios, maybe. He seems a little more
Yeah. He'd be down.
up to modern things, but not just always. Don't. Let's do it.
Alias reminds me of in Black Clover, the mirror dude who's obsessed with his little sister.
Not the same. Not the same. That's not.
That's just because the only main descriptor in my mind of him is looking for his little sister because she's lost and he loves her. He wants to find little sister. And the only anime character I can think of like that is like that.
Oh,
Or
who's a good
Lelouch.
analogy?
Lelouch
Perhaps Lelouch.
from Code Geass, his little sister Lore-lei,
Yeah.
which reminds me of that scene from that. We watched that though.
Who's he more like? Alios is kind of like if Solid wasn't a dick
Wait,
and
what?
actually cared about his little sister.
Solid.
Solid Silva. He was like a douche to,
Oh!
yeah.
He does super duper care about her though. Yeah, we
No,
does.
Nozel does.
Oh, Zell's the oldest one.
Nozel's the oldest. Nozel would be more like the Ari Lastine.
So if Solid acted like Nozel,
Yeah, so if Solid cared about
Noel.
Noel like
Nozel.
Nozel does.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that makes sense. I wasn't really going for like his age in the just for the relationship of it,
But also the
Yeah.
character.
right.
Yeah. He's a little more like free.
Cool.
There's Nozel's really.
He's in charge.
Yeah.
But Arius, Elliot,
Alios is
Elias doesn't have to be in charge of anything. He can just like
he's in charge of the special ops.
charge of taking care of his fucking sister.
Systems.
And he's failing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh, he trying though.
Cool. Thanks for your time for our ridiculous random questions.
Absolutely. Normally it's just decorum and boring things that I have to deal with.
Sorry to
What?
leave you to these guys, but we'll hang out whenever you want.
Unfortunately, I don't have the time to hang
We'll
out.
show
but
you more high fives.
this is what I signed up for. As the High Counselor. The responsibility.
Wizard King.
First up, don't be too mean to them.
Yeah, first.
He rolls his eyes and leads you out of the room
First has been great.
towards the eastern side.
Good to meet you, bud. I shout and wave over my shoulder as I do a cartwheel out of the room.
He gives a slight chuckle and a nod. And then you're out. Back into a long hallway that leads a little bit farther to the north and mostly to the south. And first beckons you to come to the south and says, don't discuss this too much until we're at my quarters. We'll talk more.
Sounds great, bud.
Is that where we're going right now?
Yes.
Cool.
So he leads you back through the building, out the front, out through the Mages Council, and he leads you more towards the eastern side, towards one of the towers. And inside, up towards the top of the tower, and into an entire floor of a room that is all his.
Yes.
It's a very well decorated room. He's actually cordoned off parts of it where you can see like a small like enchanting area, his like sleeping quarters, and then like a working desk area where he does a lot of writings. You can see like stacks of paper and parchment just like accumulating on the floors. Seems like a solid researcher. Everything is very organized. Like every decoration is there for a reason, and it's functional, and it's like important and related to his work. Like they're like crystals or like things he's made. He beckons you towards the office area where he has a few chairs you can all sit around. And he waves his hand over the window, and it shuts and creates a small shimmer, and then he does the same to the door. And sits down with the two of you and beckons his homunculus to go and start cleaning around the area.
So what?
First impressions of Vegas. Anything
Oh, he's
you'd like to
great.
talk about? No.
He's a fun guy. Wish he wasn't so busy.
Who's untrustworthy in the council?
Oh. Well, I wouldn't say anyone's so much untrustworthy, but there's a level of trust given to the Magistrium and to the High Counselor between all of us that we can't always give to the rest of the people. And it's not all Mages Council in there. There are a few members of the nobility in there, yeah. So, sensitive topics, we prefer to keep to ourselves.
So what's the information that we don't have?
We've been looking at the activities of the Dawn Guard over the past months, years, decades. And it seems to be a very sharp increase as we get closer to this festival in the fervor of their belief. They seem to be more excited, more what's the word? More like zealots of their god than actual just enforcers of peace and order in the city, which is what they've been for a long time.
You mean like taxing people to the point where they lose everything they have and have to move off of their farms?
Exactly.
Do you think? I mean, really, the simplest answer is the fact that they're just planning a coup during the festival.
That was our running theory.
That just, they might do that with the return of a powerful beast entity if their god thing isn't actually that beast/entity.
Which is why the prophecy concerns us so.
Yeah.
Your finding of this matched with our observations of the Dawn Guard seem to coincide with a event of mostly calamitous intent. An event. That yeah.
So
that we would like to try and prevent if possible, but at least be prepared for.
So level 20 delayed fireball sneaking into the Dawn Guard's headquarters. Just
that's not really effective.
seems effective.
That would be mass genocide of a religion. And
They wouldn't all die.
in the barracks,
It's only genocide if you get them
it
all.
would be most. Yes. And not to mention the actual surrounding damage to all the people in the area.
Alright, level 10. Can I calm down?
Still, we don't know who we're targeting
Right.
or what. And we certainly don't know why.
Have you not infiltrated the Dawn Guard yet with any kind of spy over the last fucking decades? You just never send anyone in there to be...
We've tried to some degree, but there's only so much information that we can get. We've no one at the highest levels of authority
Right.
within the Dawn Guard. And as much as we can get, we simply receive passion for Relachar, desire to bring peace and light throughout the world.
Cool.
Which is why we're curious.
So is the current plan of action just to respond to whatever happens?
That was the plan of action. We were trying to get ready for any kind of attack, but combined with this prophecy, we'd like to be a little bit more proactive.
Yeah.
People not from the city, from the Dawn Guard or the Mages Council, to try and figure out what is going on. Which is where we come to you.
Yeah. Wait, what do you want us to do?
We would like you to go to the Dawn Guard and, using the skills that you've acquired, try and figure out what could be going on. What is off in that organization? Between the things you've heard from outside the city, what you learned from the prophecy, and what you might suspect. Get as much information as you can. Get as far as you can into this organization, and relay that information back to us so that we can prepare. We do understand this is a fairly heavy task to ask of you. We're obviously prepared to reward you should you succeed.
I'm all for trying to help.
And
We've got 6 days. How long have you been working on this? 5 days.
We've only stepped up our efforts in the past month or so. Our accumulation of their actions has been long, but this increase in the zealotry and the fervor has been very recent.
What do you know about Sarvel?
We know that Sarvel controls most of the money coming into and out of the Dawn Guard, and is one of the highest officials within the organization.
Who would be the equivalents to Sarvel and the other functions of the Dawn Guard?
If Sarvel controls the money, the people controlling their religion and the military. Well, of course, the High Relar is Carister. He is the absolute leader of the Dawn Guard. And then his 3 captains, Gerard, Sarah, and Khan. Look at you! You named your guy after a guy!
yeah, because
And they are each respectively in charge of.
Let me see. They are the 3 captains of the Dawn Guard. Do they have specific assignments? That third step. Yes. Khan is in charge of wall maintenance and city order. Gerard is responsible for the outskirts and for sending Dawn Guard on missions throughout the world, throughout the plane of Sirach. And Sarah is more of a morale booster. She is kind of the signal of the Dawn Guard, and regularly patrols throughout the city. Yes, the face. As Karn is effective, he's not exactly the most personal.
it's a little cold. I'm feeling.
Metallic.
Metallic.
Yes.
So you're concerned that Carister is leading some massive change?
Or that all of them.
We're not sure.
Seeking power?
Someone in the Dawn Guard must be spreading this zealotry, this increase in fervor that we can see resonating throughout the Dawn Guard, and how they treat crimes, how they treat the people, and how they interact with others. We're not exactly sure where it's coming from. We can just see the effects.
Has the Dawn Guard previously held values that are contrary to their recent behaviors?
Are they hypocritical?
And
I
has
would
that hypocrisy risen in recent months?
yes. From an outside perspective,
Of course.
I would say that the way they're treating people now is hypocritical to their desire for peace and justice and light.
American way.
Yes. Hey! Dunkirk, America. Whoa.
This is America.
Guns in my area. All these people. Yay. Anyways, yes, I would say that they are utilizing their belief more as a weapon now. Technically, they could always use it to cast their spells and gain power, but they use those for good. And now I think they use them more for what they deem to be just. And that seems to be changing by the day.
It's a little heavy-handed.
Oh yeah, oh it is. This is a social justice campaign. That's it.
So no genocide.
And if Carister, Gerard, Sarah, and Karn all just disappeared, do you think it would be fine?
All the level 20 paladins.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it would be fine if they just disappeared. But I mean,
What is it?
that's not an option. If they disappeared, there would be a power struggle within the Dawn Guard, and I think that there would be some who suspect the nobles, some who suspect the Mages Council, but there would be very few that would suspect two travelers from far away.
Whoa, who said anything about two travelers from far away doing anything to the Dawn Guard?
This is why I've enchanted the spaces where sound in this game.
Okay, I don't think we can kill them. We are not that good. We probably killed the tax lady.
Sarvel.
Yeah.
Sarvel isn't even one of the top four. He's just the main person.
Yeah. We could probably capture Sarvel.
So she's one of the top 5.
We could probably capture Sarvel in question. She's probably surrounded by Dawn Guard like the whole time. We can just go in.
So many things.
Do you just want to know what their plot is, or do you want us to deal with them?
At the bare minimum, we'd like to know what's happening.
I feel like
But
we
if you
could-
can handle it, we certainly would not mind you dealing with any problems that you find.
Who are the people who interact the most with the Dawn Guard that aren't inherently in the Dawn Guard?
Like, who high up?
That would be... No.
Alright, bud.
Oh, okay. So... Oh.
We're just trying to make him the king
Oh,
of the
God.
Oh boy.
This is the most
He struck a nerve.
ever seen Ferdstone laugh. He thinks that is the funniest fucking thing he's ever heard. That's a good one.
I try.
No. Oh god. Oh no no. No. The Dawn Guard hates all this. Oh god. Oh, they think he's horrible.
Alright, so don't say we'll resolve that.
Oh, I'm gonna tell that one to the others. It's funny. I don't know why I brought it all the way over here because I have to just show you anyways. But the people who would be most
Is it?
amenable to the Dawn Guard that are not in the Dawn Guard would be those in Relithar's protectorate. Slightly overlaps, especially here, with the noble quarters. So these are the people that believe in Relithar, but they're not in the Dawn Guard. They've I don't want to say they're under the influence of Relachar, but they are certainly believers.
Do they all wear like the same clothing?
No, but they do wear those sun pendants
Mm.
of the Dawn Guard.
Where do you get a sun pendant? Like literally
Well,
everywhere.
Not everywhere. They're not really very common unless you're actually a believer. You could certainly get one in the Protectorate.
Oh, okay.
It's fairly easy to find, especially if you profess your love for Relachar. But I'm sure the Dawn Guard give them out as well.
How have you seen their... Have you noticed any response from them in the last month when the Dawn Guard has grown more radical?
The Protectorate seems to be fine with it. They're strong believers of Relachar. However, those in the surrounding area that aren't believers of Relachar have been a little more wary. I mean, most of our information has actually come from those people. So the blacksmiths in the southern quarter, the general populace living near the barracks that want safety but are now a little bit more hesitant to embrace what they've been given.
What can you tell me about the thing that plays with the
Right. Protectorate?
what can you tell me about Tolvarin?
Tolvorin.
The fuck's a Tolvarin?
Tolvarin that Relachar slayed.
Oh, right, yeah.
Personally, I don't know a whole lot more than the just religion of the Dawn Guard and what they claim Tolvorin to be. But if we think about a religion, they tend to demonize what they consider the other side. So maybe
Like
Tolvorin
that.
was a monster.
That's probably good. My money's on
Maybe
it.
Tolvorin was a cat.
Let's go full John Wick on this bitch.
All I know is we don't have it anywhere else in any of our histories of a monster of that size and horrid creation. So for one, only one to have existed here in the Sherakire, and for the valiant hero to have slain it,
Sounds
Seems
like
a-
religion to me.
seems a bit convenient. Common enemy.
Are there any history buffs that we can go and ask more questions about that time period for find out information about this identity and then conjure their image?
Yes. Well, we have all of our libraries where we try to keep as many records as we can. Who would know the most about old Erewhon, the founding of the city, and of Relachar? Well, probably Austin. Is in the
Austin.
I know it's spelled
You literally just said, it would probably be
Austin.
Austin.
It's Osten.
Yeah, pronounced Austin.
Austin, sure. Yeah, I'll call him Austin.
Good.
Austin Martin.
I hope Austin's happy.
Me too.
Yeah, Austin he was a good guy.
Who's Austin?
We were fighting high school in Boston. He was a Mormon and he went to Brazil on his mission and stayed. He said 6 months, stayed for like 4
On
years.
my
And
mission.
then came back and got married. And doing Mormon things. Like, you know, fucking and having babies. Oppressing his wife. What? Nah, but he was really nice, really kind. Just like a good person through all festivals. So.
Sounds pretty cool.
He was a unique dude.
Yep.
Just thinking of the Book of Mormon. Anyways, yes. Austin would probably be the foremost historian that we have, at least, on early Erelon and the founding of the Dawnguard religion.
Where do you find yourself?
Sent to Lake City.
Austin would be in the... Ooh, where is he now? It's probably in the southwestmost library. Top of the tower.
Top of the tower to you too, sir.
No, that's where he is. Yes.
Okay.
I've got this now.
Yeah!
Yes! Wondrous.
Okay.
On my shore could be San Fran by the bay.
Is there anything aside from
Tolvorin.
Tulvorin.
Tulvorin.
Do you want to know how to spell that one?
Is it T-U-L?
Yes.
V-A-R-I-N?
Almost.
Oh, sorry, V-O-R-I-N? Tulvorin?
T-U-L dash V-O-R-E-N. Tulvorin.
Dashes are stupid. I want one.
Is there anything aside from Tulvorin that the Dawnguard demonize, or is it just past demons that they conjure up to get people to follow their beliefs?
It's mostly that, and I guess what they demonize currently is crime and darkness and like not being what they call a good person. It's not following their laws.
Unless they're gonna blow up the slums.
How do you think the Dawnguard would respond if we just activated a bunch of scrolls of darkness in their barracks?
That'd be funny.
They would not react well. They would probably try to dispel it or cast a lot of light to try and...
But if it was magical darkness, light won't penetrate, right?
Correct. I mean, we've never done that. It's kind of a sophomoric prank, if only done in a small scale. But a large scale,
I want to black out their entire buildings.
would certainly be effective.
It's unnecessary. Doesn't last very long. It's like a minute.
God damn it, I don't have any notes in there.
They last like a minute.
In the player's handbook,
Oh, wow.
page 1.
I love that page.
It's the nicest page. It's the
Up
That's
to
so
10
fun.
minutes.
Okay.
15-foot radius sphere, so we make like dozens of them.
That's a level 1. Right. Every additional spell slot increases the ability of the spell, so it probably should increase the
no,
size.
it's a second level invocation.
Either way, jumping it up a level will increase the size, probably.
It doesn't say anything about scaling at all.
I know, that's where the DM comes in. Oh, it's because it's a scroll.
Yeah,
This is
Oh, you looked up darkness?
and darkness doesn't scale with levels.
But can it scale with levels?
No. What you
You're-
could do,
You're the evocation
Yeah,
master, bud.
Can you cast darkness at a higher level than it's intended to make it much larger? Is it evocation?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, it is.
is invocation. Nixon goes, no, the standard darkness spell does not extend.
Yeah, the standard.
What about
We're asking
greater
Correct.
darkness?
Yeah.
I have been working on some higher level darkness spells that I think would be interesting.
It's called really darkness.
Super darkness.
Super darkness. Yeah.
Deeper
very
darkness.
Effective
Dark lives matter.
in combat. Ooh, no. No. That's.
Why?
Because you shouldn't say dark lives matter.
Black is just really dark.
No, that's not the same. That is not the same.
I'm gonna get killed.
That's like saying white is light.
I mean, white
White-
is lighter than black.
Correct, but white is not the same as light.
No. But
So black
for
is not the same
pigmentation,
as dark.
white is a light color.
Light and dark have more meanings than white and black.
Yeah, well, when you're using them to mean light as in light energy, light spectrum
Correct.
colors, and not pigmentation colors. If you're doing pigmentation colors, there's nothing wrong with saying dark on its scale to black, and light getting lighter to white.
Right, but saying dark still has more meanings.
So the good thing is that when we say black for Black Lives Matter and black people, we mean the pigmentation of their skin and not the wavelength of light that they exist in.
Correct. That's why we don't say dark lives.
It's because they're not dark people.
Exactly.
But that's why it's a joke. I say what I want.
It is the land of the free speech.
It's just
Get us banned from
well,
all channels.
it was in support.
Alright,
Yeah. I said they matter.
you did. But you also made a joke, so it's like.
Yeah, we always have to be able to make jokes about everything.
Correct.
And if people get upset, they can suck it.
Fair.
So like what comedy is. If you're telling jokes about like shit that doesn't matter, it's like not important.
Perhaps the timing should be considered.
Once again, as discussed probably the last session, there is no more important time.
The timing of jokes. So like,
Oh, I'll work on my timing.
okay.
I meant like of the joke, not what. Okay.
You were making a joke about jokes. It's a meta joke. I get it.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, superior darkness.
Anyways, yes.
Superior blackness. You can change the size of the sphere with it.
I'm not so much changing the size of the sphere, as I'm changing what happens. And perhaps it's not a sphere, but I try to create more of an experience. In that everything within a radius loses sight. And that I can extend. It's almost like blindness,
Yeah.
but cast at an individual level.
Pulling the evocation wool over their eyes.
Exactly.
What is the point of this? Just for funsies?
You were just asking about
And that's
exploding
not shit,
darkness
yeah.
bombs all over the Dawn Guard.
Like bath bombs, but darkness.
Darkness,
Beware of darkness.
Oh.
Cool.
It's just like Hey, what's time magic?
Time.
Yeah. Like, does anyone know how to manipulate time with
Not
magic?
that I'm aware of.
It's disappointing.
Be
That'd
some
probably be a
interesting work.
transmutation. I need to talk to the Wizard King again, because I got an idea. But,
If you tell me your idea, I will.
and I'm going to use it to make really good alcohol.
Then he'll be even more interested.
Right?
Because I relate it to him.
Okay, well, so what I want to, I'm just saying, like, if it's transmutation magic, which changes things, right?
Correct. That's what transmutation magic.
Could you transmute an object into the older form of that object?
Yes.
Would it then like go through all of the shit that it does when it's getting older during that process?
If the spell is meant to do that, yes.
And if you could you use it like on like a barrel?
Theoretically possible.
And if that barrel had like alcohol inside of it, then you'd be able to like barrel age that alcohol for like 40 years in the process of like an hour. And then that alcohol would take on the qualities of the
It
barrel,
starts like writing
spending
down
time soaking
like
up.
notes.
Because normally it takes like 40 years to soak up the flavors and the aromas of the barrel. But those would be given off and soaking up in that hour.
I don't think that you could. He's like writing as he's talking. Don't think that you could get the flavors of the barrel, but you could have the effect of actually aging that liquid.
Got it. Which is also fine.
Interesting.
Because that shit would taste amazing.
Would be a reasonable shortcut to actually aging alcohol.
Yeah.
The problem would be the cost.
A lot of money for that.
It
So
would have to
only
be
sell
very
that.
effective.
They only sell that in the nobles' quarters.
Magically aged alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It's a possibility.
You know, we'll revisit after we save the entire city from calamity.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll take down the notes. When he
First.
finishes writing out like his plans.
What's up, Boogaloo?
Just thinking,
Do you have any
could you make those scrolls of blindness over the next day or two?
Or just like come with us and cast it? You could cast it.
How many do you need?
Yeah, anywhere between 6 and a dozen.
Scrolls are probably a better idea.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I could make these scrolls if you need them. What are you trying to accomplish here?
Stuff and things. I'm like halfway to my goal. Once I've come full circle, I can share it all.
What else do you need?
But it would save a lot of time if they were already made by the time I had this entirely figured out.
If you insist, I will allocate the resources.
Your help is much appreciated.
Yes.
Is there any other tidbits that you can think of about the Dawn Guard that would be helpful for our investigation before we roll out?
At this point, the homunculus is like come up and finished cleaning, and he gives it a small pat on the head. The top commanders, the religion, increase in silk trade. No. I think that's everything. That's everything I know about them.
One last question. Do you know what the Dawn Guard's plans for celebrating the festival are going to be? vaguely? Do you have any idea what they're boosting? What kind of
But they're mostly planning on running security.
Do they
It's only
spread
their
themselves-
900. It's not their 1,000.
Do they spread themselves evenly amongst the noble quarters?
I don't know their plans. for
Fully
sure.
infiltrating the entire area, so if they all had to attack at once, it would be a gigantic takeover, and they'd be able to kill a lot of people really quickly.
We don't know their assignment plans, but
I feel like maybe
perhaps
who's assigning them to guard duty?
there'll probably be Karn and maybe
No.
Sarah for the central areas.
Sorry, I think I miscommunicated. Why is the Dawn Guard in charge of security?
They're in charge of security for the whole city. Well, as much of the
On
city as they
whose
choose to.
orders?
It's not so much orders as a general understanding that they would maintain peace throughout the city and enforce
Okay,
most generally agreed upon laws.
hold up. Back up. You're saying you have a highly religious, highly militaristic force who doesn't answer to anybody and is in charge of all of the security in the city.
Most of the security. We have our own guards here.
Do you see any problems with this?
Well, it's been a long-standing relationship built over many centuries.
That
And for many centuries they've been fine. It's only recently that we've really been noticing these problems.
it only takes one crazy leader.
okay. Random question. Do you know there are barracks in the east part of the city? Is that by any chance a holy site? Do they revere that area? Are they protective of it beyond it just being the place that they sleep? Does it have any
Yes.
significant value to them?
I believe that the barracks has been built around the area that Relachar himself used to live. Far, far in the past, before this was even large enough of a city for him to even live in what was considered Erelon. He was outside of the city, and that's where he was. That's where he inhabited.
I bet the fucking monsters there. Chained up in the basement.
Is that just a neat little factoid about their history, or is that an active part of their value system?
That is the main reason why their barracks are there. Their secondary barracks are somewhat militaristic positions, somewhat their claim that Relachar delivered a very important speech in that square.
Yeah, we need to go talk to us.
Yeah.
Sweet. If you get started on the scrolls, we would be so thankful.
Shall be done.
Also, maybe try and find out, like, their plans on where they're going to position people and stuff during the, like, I feel like it's a super reasonable request to be like, hey, what's your guard station? Like, what's your guard detail look like? For the festival, we want to make sure all the details are buttoned down. Because that seems sketchy.
Maybe just ask the king if he can ask them. Seems like a reasonable
The Wizard King. Your
High
boss.
Council.
Yes.
level of coordination between the two parties.
Yes.
A reasonable request.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. H's.
Very close.
Cool. Let's go find Austin.
Yeah. I like the idea of Austin.
And as you go find Austin, I know where we're at. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
I like some jokes that I've said there. I really want to age through the alcohol.
Really want to start a rumor in the city that the Dawn Guard's barracks is about to come under siege by the
like 4 days.
Sounds like it won't be hard. Most of the people around there aren't huge fans of him already.
We could just fucking tell. We
Use all
could
that
just
shit.
tell every single messenger.
Yep.
To just like be like, oh my god, did you hear this when they're like dropping off the package?
Yep.
So funny. So do you think it's like a coup? Or they're gonna release the monster? Or I don't know.
Alright. You're just going to Austin?
Yep.
Nice. You make your way through the Mages Council to the southwesternmost library tower. And as you walk in with the other students, there's a line forming in front of a large podium with a book in the front. And you make your way through this line, and there's a younger mage who's standing there and goes, "State your business!"
We were sent by.
We're here to talk to Austin!
Oh, Austin, but you don't have an appointment.
Yeah, we do!
We were sent by Ferda!
Oh, first,
Yeah. Ferda
Oh.
family.
Oh, gosh, oh, okay, go right ahead.
Oh, gee, oh gosh.
Go right up there.
Okay, thanks, mister!
Now you
Next!
sing for a week.
He moves you on through, and you can see a long staircase sweeping to your left, and in front of you, through glass doors, just stacks of books. So many books, and people just reading and reading and reading.
Nerds.
But he's told you to go up the stairs.
Top floor.
To the top of the tower.
Fair enough. You make your way around and around and around and around, all the way to the top, to a very old oaken door. It is the last stop at the end of the stairs. It's closed.
We're knocking the door.
I'm just gonna push it open.
There. You push it open, and you can hear like shuffling as like an older man with a long gray beard turns and goes, "Oh, visitors!
Hey, Austin!
I was just coming to get you. How do you know my name?
You were coming to get us?
Because I knocked on the door.
You knocked on the door.
Oh, got it.
We were sent by Ferda.
Ah, the young man is quite precocious.
You're a sassy old man.
What is your inquiry?
We need information.
We need everything you know about the origin of the Dawn Guard. Particularly everything about Tolvoran, everything about where their barracks is set up, and everything about their value system.
So you know all of it.
Zoop, 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 zoop.
Zip, zop, zooey.
His eyes twinkle. Yes, that's the focus of my study for a long, long time.
Oh, that's
You want me to wait?
convenient.
No. I should probably wait. It's lore! I'm gonna make things happen.
What'd you call me?
I said it's lore.
It took me 3 seconds.
Okay. I thought you were like going for a while. He shuffles back to what you can assume is a desk because there's a chair there. But over all of it, and covering most of the floor, is just books, parchments, and scrolls, pieces of writing. Just literally, you can't even see if there's like a bed here.
Books are pretty soft.
Doesn't seem like. Books can be comfy. He probably sleeps in the chair.
That's
Your
fair.
science.
Can I crawl up on the towers of books on his desk and just sit on top of it?
Make an acrobatics check.
Yes!
It's a big ass.
Die rolls!
14. 15. What's 7?
Acrobatics.
Yes.
15.
You manage to scamper up the towers of books, and a few of them like whoop, 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 like wobble a little bit. And he goes, "Oh, stop! No. All right, this. No. And he settles back in his chair. The Dawn Guard
Okay, let's start with Tolvoran.
should go back a little further to really understand the story.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
Long time
This
ago.
is this. I know why I get so tired doing D&D. It's just story time.
It is sort of.
Like it's interactive, but like it's still story time. Like all I'm doing is like laying here, like being warm and like listening to a story, just like.
As the story progresses, Gregory falls asleep.
Drifting off, imagining the pictures of the words he's hearing.
That's like a really sad way of like saying, of like explaining story time.
Damn.
Imagining the pictures of the words he's hearing. He falls asleep. Damn, dude.
He did. Gregory did.
Alright, well, I'm wide awake now.
The founding of the city, we had Arian Lustros and Ultian Lore-lei.
Yeah.
Two friends that had come from the Ustanire to investigate the southern lands. Most of the populace down here, fairly simple farming folk. There was no city that long ago. And these two, ambition, managed to drive out the native wildlife.
What was the native
from the
wildlife?
city. From what I can tell, it was mostly giant hyenas and large boars had overtaken the plains. And the people that were farming had rudimentary defenses against these, but no one had made a city. Anyways,
Does he look pipe?
he does not. He's just.
This is my hot cocoa. I'm really enjoying this.
It's so. But they were able to found the city and created these first walls around the crown of the area, and would soon become the Mage's Council. Over the years, they attracted more and more people coming from the Carolyn to this, the Cherokee, the land of constant sunshine, fair weather.
Yeah, it's fucking gorgeous.
Yes, it is. But it's strange. Why is it always fair weather? Why does the Velisire cover forest all throughout the band? The Denadire is all desert, the Wustanire a tundra. How can you stand on the edge of one and stick your hand out and feel the other?
Can you?
Okay,
That seems fucking weird.
it's very
I'm
strange.
with you on
Very
that.
strange.
Gods,
Perhaps.
magic.
And that's what we've tried to figure out for a very long time. Back to Errol and founding. As people were attracted over the years, there came to be a young man named Lore-lei. He was of some nobility. None of the 5 noble families that currently inhabit the city and rule over it. He was passionate. He cared about the people. He wanted justice. Wanted a beautiful life everyone that lived in this area. And this is where the paths diverge. In the books written by the Dawn Guard, and in their religion, Relachar rises to become a great hero. He fights the evil of Tovorin in the west. And this fight is what claims his life, and what ascends him to godhood, and what gives him the sickle scar. And Tovorin becomes an enemy, an embodiment of darkness in the world. What I've been investigating some of the very, very old accounts written in some of the older scholarly languages, abyssal, celestial, infernal, elemental, odd languages that we've kept. We don't know their origin, but we consider them high languages. And in these texts, we found that Tovorin was not a monster. Tovorin was a man. Similar to Relachar himself. In fact, potentially a friend of Relachar. And that he joined Relachar in fighting some other evil. And it was that gave Relachar the sickle scar and ultimately led his demise. This other force is not named.
He's a patron. They're all warlocks.
But this has been my research, trying to find what they could be fighting, what they could have been looking for. Anyways, I'm blathering on here. What did you have specific questions or anything?
Nope, keep
Why
blathering.
why
Keep
did Fudge
blathering.
descend you? Most people don't want to listen to my normal ramblings.
Have you done much research on the development of Dawn Guard from the last 900 years?
Yes. Yes. They started as a small sect around Relachar. Upon his ascension to divinity, as they call it, they grew quite significantly over the years, expanding all throughout the world. They piggybacked onto the program the Mages Council created to send initiates across the plane, learning as much as they could from the rest of the world. They've always been militant. Relachar was a god hero, famous for his sword. But, in my experience, magic does not come from gods. Magic is inherent throughout the world. So, as much as they claim their magic to come from Relachar, it seems unlikely.
So the sword, was his sword special?
Yes.
Is his sword still
It's a
around?
flaming sword. No, it's been lost to time. Dawnguard themselves could not retrieve it.
From where?
From the final battle that they claim was against Tovorin, I suspect was against something else.
Do you know exactly where it took place?
My records point roughly in the same direction as the Dawnguard themselves, to the west, across the cataract. It's simply the opponent of the fight that's different.
you been keeping tabs on the Dawn Guard over the last month or so?
No, I've been researching them in the library. Why?
Just curious of mine. What can you tell me about where they built their home?
Yes, yeah. Well, as I said, Lore-lei himself was of some nobility, and his noble house was at the bottom of the hill. Again, we're not one of the ruling families, not allowed a space in the ascended ground, as they called it back then. So that was his home. That's where he grew up. He was taught the ways of the sword and how to speak, intelligent to the people, how to use magic. So when he died, the Dawn Guard decided to make that a holy spot and create a barracks around the area. His final
I was
speech.
just gonna say that.
What?
Because nothing says holy like an army.
The Crusaders, man. It's a holy war.
And a warrior god does war with Crusaders. But his final speech against the enemy in the west was given at the site of the secondary barracks.
Do you have a transcript of that speech? By any
Yeah, I'd
chance?
love to hear that shit.
Yeah. Transcript.
Or do you just remember?
Perhaps. I'll take it up. It might be. Yeah, no, it is. And he goes and starts rifling through some of the books to try and see if he can find a transcript of the second speech. And eventually he does come back with a mostly moth-eaten parchment
Notes.
that he. This is as much as we have from that speech. Quite old. Surprisingly, anything actually survived then. I'm sure the Dawn Guard have their own version of it, but this is the oldest that I can find. And the speech calls for unity amongst the people against the evil blank. We must fight to survive, to protect blank. And in our fight to blank, with light and honor, blank, we shall win.
The mods are in league with the Dawn Guard. Sorry, butterflies have been there.
As a holy site, what do you think would happen if the Dawn Guard's barracks were enshrouded in darkness?
Well, I'm sure they wouldn't like that. It's an order of light and purity and law. They might find that a little bit discouraging. It would be fun though. Yeah. Perhaps if I were younger, I might try that. I just wish we had more documents, more information. There's only a few texts that survive from far back then.
What do those have to say?
Exactly what I've told you. It's most of what I've gleaned so far. Most of the rest of them talk about the other bands of existence. Velasyria, the Demiurge, the
What is
I'm sure the oldest scripts are far in the College of Foster.
Motherfucker. What do the Dawn Guard want in the other bands?
Well, mostly just trading. That's why we send the Majors Council there. Just to learn from the rest of the world. Travel improves your understanding of other things. I remember my time in
What is the value set of the Dawn Guard that they want to proselytize and spread their word?
We want to bring light into the darkness in their most sacred vow. So they want to spread light wherever they go. They want their new initiates to understand that it's necessary. That the word must be spread.
How often do they acquire new initiates? What's their process for that like?
Well, in some of the eastern towns, most of the children are raised to be Dawn Guard. If they're not fit enough, they settle to mercantile or agrarian pursuits in the area to support the city with boys and girls of fighting ability raised to be Dawn Guard, particularly in Capriccia.
Why particularly in Capriccia?
Capriccia is one of the, besides the city of Errol itself, one of the largest strongholds of the Dawn Guard. It's not a particular reason. Most of just the first town that really accepted them outside of the city. Really let the Dawn Guard flourish. The Dawn Guard has been good to them too. Brought us some money, trading. So they decided to support most of the ranks. Fairly large. I call it a town. It's quite big. The main trading hubs of the eastern side. Sleep great. The old professor lecturing.
Yeah, this is why I fucking suck at college.
Where does the Dawn Guard get their water from?
Well, most of us get their water from. It wells throughout the city. Most of those are fed underground from the caravan. Pull the water up and it swells outside the city as well. Feed into the
So is there a well that's specifically for the Dawn Guard barracks?
probably.
Well,
Probably one inside of the barracks itself. One to multiple to support that many people. The Caravan runs wide and deep. In fact, through all the history that I've found, Caravan is one constant. Beyond all time, all existence. Caravan has always been there.
Like the bands?
Exactly like the bands.
Like
There was
the
no
what?
development, they simply existed as far as I can see.
Bands?
Oh, the like different, right? Yeah, okay.
What's your research found about the edges of the world?
From what we've mapped out, there is the Ashian Ridge. Massive mountain ranges all around from the east, south, to the west, east, and then the frozen north, which no one's gone through and come back. We cannot progress across these things. They are impenetrable barriers to our existence. We've been able to make do with the world we live in, but no one knows what's beyond that.
I just want to say the antivirus, like renew your antivirus, hopped with my computer, and it scared me. Like I just jumped. Sorry. Like
It's okay. There are many theories about what lies beyond. We've never had anything come from the other side. It's safe to assume that we might be the only ones.
In your dealings in history, have you ever found evidence that the Dawn Guard would want control of the sea?
Though they've never shown kind of conquering intent. It's been fairly
But
protective.
they have crusaders.
They're not crusaders. They are protectors.
holy guard.
Consider themselves, yes, gods. Gods of the people.
Guards from.
Gods from the darkness that can return. Is what they call it. That's why Torvorin is so important to them. That's why any mention of Torvorin not being in the darkness is not accepted by them.
Starts to feel like the more worshipping the dark guy than the light guy.
Hmm?
These are like Tolvorin's more and more important to them. Just seems
Kind of
they're-
like the devil.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you know, at what point when you're a Christian and you're only thinking about the devil and not thinking about God, are you not really a Christian anymore?
That's a good question.
A bunch of battle warlocks.
Perhaps you will find out. If this noon comes to visit me, please ask away.
If one wanted to systematically dismantle the belief system that is the Dawn Guard, how would one best do that?
Well, you'd have to prove that, hypothetically speaking, that Torvorin is not the enemy, that Relahar does not believe in the things that the Dawn Guard currently believes in. Probably prove that Relahar himself does not give them the power that they have. Fine.
And if you had to do this in the next 5 days, how would you do it, old man?
I'm not one for bold action. More of a scholarly pursuit.
From a scholarly perspective.
I suspect I need evidence of at least one of these things. And through that, probably reasonably prove the other ones.
It's called democide. To kill all the members of the religion.
I wouldn't kill them, no.
Oh no, I know. That's just what my mind was thinking about.
Are there any hints about where we could find Relahar and raise him from the dead? Or
Or the enemy died, right? So
Yeah, that one just galvanized them.
counter religion. Religious war.
There have been small mentions of Tool War in our history, but nothing particular.
I'm so sorry. There have been small mentions of Tolvarn through history.
Snippets of
Like, not of him
worshippers.
existing.
Yeah, worshippers of the cult. But most of those are stomped out by the Dawn Guard as soon as they come to me. And well, besides the books that I have, I can only think of if perhaps the investigators have found anything in their escapades. Brash young boys, eh? Quite interesting. Mishra used to work in this very library. It was a little too rambunctious for my taste.
I played that deck with fun.
Who knows? I haven't seen him in years. Might have found something. Or was that a nose for adventure?
Where does Mishra live?
Even when he was a kid, he had no single place to stay. I've no idea.
Sorry.
It's flattery.
But, you know, the investigators have some infamy throughout the council, I'm sure. If you ask around, you could probably find where they are.
Cool.
Fair warning, though. You might die.
Yeah.
They're, not the most cautious.
There's like a solid chance we're all gonna die in like 6 days, so.
I might die tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've accepted that.
Probably.
Continue to read my books. Write my scholarly articles.
Not like the last one. Oh, wait, John, I forgot to teach you this lesson. I love the young ones. My mind it's gone.
Coming up on 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
If you need like a mental timeout. That was a lot of information.
Let's go to bed.
Yeah.
Well, do you just live up here, old man?
Yeah, this is my. Someone bring me my meals. Go downstairs to use the toilet.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food. Well, when I was younger, I would love good fried rainbow fish. But little hard to eat those now. I must have something just to good soup. Enough for me. Lots of flavor. He old, man. He old.
So what you're saying is it's real easy to find you when we need you.
Yeah.
Guess I never go pretty much anywhere besides this tower.
Well, we'll be back very shortly, I'm
Hope
sure.
you're back.
Maybe within the next day. Because we have quite a lot of work to do quite quickly.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. If you do find Mishra, tell him he's a fool, but I love him.
Why is he a fool?
I think you'll know if you meet him. What? Disconcerting.
I said that's disconcerting.
I couldn't hear you. so much lore it can't even be contained. Message in a bottle.
Police? Hopefully, is that police?
Yes. What other questions do you have for Austin?
What's the best way to skin a cat?
Well, from what I've read, the best way to skin a cat is if you cut from right here, and he like starts,
Pulls out a
he
cat.
pulls it in. No, it
Sorry,
isn't.
he does what?
He doesn't pull out a cat. He pulls out a piece of parchment and like draws the underside of the cat. Now, if you follow this up, is the most effective way to skin the cat. And then you peel these back up. This cut, and like actually diagrams out.
Now that I know this vital information, do I get advantage on attack rolls against him?
Just skinning rolls, not attack
Oh,
rolls.
sorry.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
write this shit down.
You get advantage on skinning rolls against cats.
Good. That's how we learn things. How we get better as characters.
Oh
You know?
my god.
9. There's 9 ways to skin a cat. In Parks and Rec, the
Animal control
animal
people.
control, like Garth or Gareth.
Yeah.
There's more than one way to skin a cat. 9. There's 9 ways. Murder all birds. Got it.
Yes.
Are you writing down how to skin a cat?
No, I'm taking notes from the last fucking hour.
Right.
Oh, there's so much. It's okay. That's why I record this. Make sure that it's recording. Yes, it's recording.
I've got a notification that it was. I didn't check the sound, but you know, it's fine. They just won't hear me tell racist jokes.
So you say that Mishra has a past hunting down the followers of Tolborn as well?
Wait, what?
What's Mishra's relationship with the Dawn
They're-
Guard? Why is seeking him not going to be helpful again?
He's an investigator.
Yes, one of the investigators. I'm saying because he used to be a disciple of mine, and then he decided that he needed more real world experience. He went to go investigate all of the strange places he could find around the world. He's not. He's not affiliated with the Dawn Guard because particularly against them. I'm saying if you want to find more information than was in the library, Mishra is probably the next best source. If it wasn't so rambunctious, he'd probably take over the library for me. Before all of the librarians, in fact. Boy is an aptitude for history.
Maybe he'll calm down.
Perhaps. Maybe if he stops drinking razor wine, he'll calm down a little bit.
There's a chance I might be able to do something about that in the future.
Yeah. What do you mean?
To be able to control the flow of it.
You humans control this place.
I believe he can make his own at this point.
He who controls the reservoir controls the world.
The world of some, yes.
That's the goal.
Do you know if the Dawn Guard, as clerics and paladins, have any particular resistance to, say, chemical things in their internal workings that might cause, I don't know, something like poison effect in other people?
I believe they do, yes.
Do they have
Part of
resistance to it?
Yes. The resistance to diseases and poisons.
Do they have a resistance to fire?
Don't believe so. No. Besides their spells, they don't have a natural resistance to fire. Which any element I can think of. Interesting. Do you know of a race that's resistant to fire? Quite intriguing.
Not yet.
If you do, let me know.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Are tieflings resistant to fire? There we go. Lady Lania's assistant's a tiefling.
No, we wouldn't have that knowledge.
He told us she's a tiefling.
But we wouldn't have the knowledge that tieflings are resistant to fire.
Oh yeah, right. We could try that again.
But there are no
Are tieflings like a thing? Like we just know
How would
tieflings
we know
Yes.
that?
Tieflings are rare,
Right.
especially.
like tabaxi.
But how would our characters know that?
How would we know that?
I mean,
Is it super commonly known that tieflings are resistant to fire?
If it was,
Yeah.
we know that.
they're one of the established
That's true.
races. They're like, I would assume that your characters would know of the races in the player's handbook. You would know their
Right.
general characteristics.
But if we know that they're resistant to fire, then so would Austin, who just asked us if we knew of any races that are resistant to fire.
He just asked if the Dawn Guard are resistant to fire.
I asked Austin. Austin asked us if we knew any races that were
Yeah.
resistant to fire.
He forgot. He's old.
Got it.
It's like, yeah, tieflings.
Ah, yes. Dinner deal. He doesn't know that he's
Junidai.
old. Yeah. That's not really the correct term for them anymore.
Can't say Oriental.
Yeah, that's kind of the equivalent.
Brian, buddy, where you been? The term is ancient American.
Everyone's a little bit racist. Sometimes.
Doesn't mean we're committing any
Crimes.
crimes. This reminds me of, did you read Redwall?
Yes.
The rabbit said quack quack all the time. Super good. That book's
Wedwall.
I like Constance the Badger. I read like
Constant Badger.
10 of the prequels and like 8 of the sequels.
Yeah, they went crazy in that series. They were just
Because
like,
they did what Tom Clancy did. They got a team of writers to write books and they just put them under the same name. So Tom Clancy only wrote like 4 books.
like the magic books.
Well, there's a lot of different authors.
Some of them did. A few of them had the same author. I have them all. You can read them.
It's okay.
They're so good.
I believe you.
But then you would know about Urza and Mishra
Yeah.
and Yawgmoth.
Like the dragon.
No, the Lord of Phyrexia.
Isn't he like a dragon?
No, he's much more than that.
I was thinking like Skillers.
Yeah.
Skillers.
Skrillex the Blight Dragon. Yeah. Yes, you are.
Sometimes it sounds like that.
I have a
It's a
copy
Blight
of the
Dragon.
Fifth Ram that you can read.
I'd rather read like the really old shit. Like I can't remember sure. So.
That is the real solution.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I'd rather read about that than like the new stuff like Theros.
Oh, okay. Yes, so you want a copy of the Fifth Ram.
Yeah.
Because that's like the first book.
The Silmarillion of the Magic World.
Yes.
Nice.
Actually, yes. It explains the origin of Yawgmoth, Phyrexia, and Gix, and sets the stage for the artifact cycle.
Nice. It's favorite cycle.
It's the best cycle.
Yeah, it's so good.
Anywho.
How many more questions for the old man? Do you have more questions for the old man? Okay. We're gonna take a mid-afternoon nap. Story-wise.
Well, so it's 9 o'clock. I figure you can set your next direction. And if you want to keep, I can keep playing for another like hour and a half. I have enough content.
We'll
but
figure out our next direction beginning of next session.
We've been playing almost 3
Okay.
hours.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm very
But just-
sleepy.
So you'll be leaving Austin
And then we'll figure out the next step next session.
and walk out of the library doors onto your next adventure.
Probably not.
Oh!
I just googled killing all members of a